Welcome back, Helldivers. Full disclosure before we begin, I have recorded this video probably 4 or 5 times. Every time I listen back to it, I think to myself, I'm not really saying what I want to say. So let's just do it a little bit more casually without a script. There's been a lot of talk recently about the player base of Helldivers 2, how it's dropped 90%, and all these different things, and how the game is dying. One thing I need to say right off the bat about the player base dropping 90% on Steam is something to keep in mind is that there's still 177 territories that cannot play the game. That's something that Sony still needs to fix and do right by, and I hope that they do that. Doesn't seem like there's much movement, but we do know that the developers of the game have been pushing them hard to do so. So hopefully there can be some movement on that at some point. Secondly, games kind of rise and fall all the time. When Helldivers 2 first came out, it was hugely popular. It was a trend. I mean, we had 400,000 concurrent players. That's insane. That's crazy numbers, especially from such a mid-sized to small game. You know, it's not a AAA game that had a bunch of marketing on it. Yeah, Sony backed it with some trailers and whatnot, but it didn't have a lot of marketing like other games do these days that are trying to get huge player bases like that. So the fact that the concurrent player base is not what it used to be is not surprising to me. To bring on 400,000 concurrent players because it's trending, because it's very popular, it's brand new. The fact that that's not the case anymore, that doesn't really surprise me, you know. That being said, it is a big drop, 90% of the players dropping away again because of that territory issue, because of what Sony has done to the game with the PSN account linking, snafu, all of that. That obviously drove away a lot of people. But what about the people who weren't driven away from that? I've noticed a lot of comments and a lot of people saying, well, the reason I stopped playing was because of nerfs to the weapons, and they're constantly making all the fun builds just crap, and you can't have fun in the game anymore. And to that, I would say, yeah, I kind of understand that. There are times that Arrowhead decides to nerf things in a specific way that I think, well, I don't really know if that's the way I would have gone with that. But I don't think that means that the game isn't fun anymore. Obviously, fun is subjective. Everybody plays in different ways, and so that's a battle and an argument that I'm never going to win, so I'm not even going to try and fight it. If you don't have fun with the game anymore, then that's 100% fine. I understand that. I play the game probably once a week with my buddies, Thursday nights, and there's some times that when we play it, I'm just not feeling it. And that's just the way life goes, especially with games. Something that I think is super important is I don't really think that Helldivers 2 is dying. Everybody's saying that, well, it's because of the nerf, it's because of the territory issues, the game is dead, we just need to leave it behind. I wouldn't say that. I definitely think the game is kind of finding its place. It's settling into a niche, it's setting up with the concurrent players in the community, and it's going to be a smaller community, and that's totally fine. But I think what's really important for all those people who are saying, well, the game is dead, look at this, yet another failed live service game, I wouldn't say that. To them, I would say, just take a break. You know, go play some other games. There's thousands of other games out there to play. I mean, right now I'm really enjoying Destiny 2, which is also a live service game. And let me tell you, I love Destiny. I was a beta player back in, 2014. I will always love Destiny, always. But there's times that I don't play it. I mean, I took probably a whole year, maybe 2 years off of the game, but I came back to it. And I think that's totally fine. There's this idea in people's heads that a live service game must capture your attention 24/7. I think that comes both from players who feel like they're not getting enough out of the game, but I do also think that it comes primarily from developers. The developers of the Power World game specifically said, hey, we hope that you take a break and go play other games, and then come back for round 2, I believe is what they said, when we have new stuff. I think that's a great way of looking at it. I think that's a great way that we should look at Helldivers 2. Hey, Helldivers 2 came out. It was a huge hit success. You know, it was just massive. It had some growing pains. It still has some growing pains. We're not sure where it's going to go from here or what's going to happen, but that's okay. Take a break. You know, go play some other games. There's lots of other games out there. There's games coming out right now like, you know, Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, which I'm super pumped for that game. And I don't know anything about 40k. I don't know any of the lore. And as a lore guy, that really frustrates me. I'm like, man, I gotta learn. But there's so much of it. And that's totally fine. This channel is based off of Helldivers 2. That's how it started. That's the reason I started it. And I always intended it for it to be, for the most part, a Helldivers 2 channel, and it will continue to be. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to play other games. It doesn't mean I'm not going to do videos on other games. I may shift my focus over time. So, 6 months after Helldivers 2 launched, is the game dead, like a lot of people are saying? In my opinion, no. It's just in a bit of a lull, which happens. I mean, nothing is perfect. And so, to the people who are maybe feeling like the game isn't fun anymore, or they've completed everything the game has to offer, I would say, yeah, just take a break. You know, go play a different game. Don't think about Helldivers 2 for a while until, you know, a big drop of content comes, and then you can go, oh yeah, hey, Helldivers 2, I had a lot of fun with that game. Let me go back and play it. It's totally fine. I think that's something that we need to normalize in the gaming space, is enjoying a game while it's around and then putting it aside. And then if there is a content update that's worth it, going back to it and being like, hey, yeah, man, this is fun again. And sure enough, after that content update has been around a while, probably go back into the same, you know, I'm going to put it aside. That's totally fine. So, one other thing that I wanted to discuss was a lot of people are saying that the other reason that they left, aside from the territory issues, the PSN issues, and the nerfing issues, was the horrible communication with the developers. Now, I don't know what everybody's personal experience is with the developers, but being an active user in the Helldivers 2 official Discord, I can say that, yes, sometimes the developers say something that you're like, oh, wait, what? Can they say that? But they're human, and I think that's what makes the community great, is that they're so open and they're so honest to talk with people, to say, hey, here's what's going on. And there's a lot of times where this is, you know, kind of unprecedented. A lot of games these days don't have that. A lot of games you can't directly talk to the developers and ask, hey, what's going on? So yes, at times they have said things or done things that maybe aren't the greatest, but who hasn't? You know, as consumers, we're definitely much more vocal than the developers. And the developers are probably in a very scary situation to openly speak with us, the community, who can be angered very easily at really minor things that maybe don't matter. And so I give props out to the development team, and I think just have a little more grace with them. You know, they're people too. It's just a video game. We all want to play it. Obviously, they listen to our feedback. They've kind of reversed some of the nerfs they've done. But at the same time, they're going to do what they think is best for the game overall. Sometimes they listen to us, sometimes they don't. And that's because sometimes we give good feedback and sometimes we're insufferable. You know, we're all humans. So even with that, even with the whole kind of issue with talking to the developers, I would say take a break. If you're getting frustrated, or if you're thinking, yeah, I'm just really not feeling it anymore, that's okay. Take a break. Go play some other games. You may never come back to Helldivers 2, and that's totally fine too. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, but just don't let it ruin your life, you know? Don't let it control you. That's easy for me to say as a guy who runs a Helldivers 2 channel. You know, I kind of have to make content on this. But again, I'm reaching out into other games and other areas. And at the end of the day, I'm just here to have fun too. You know, this isn't a job for me. This is just, I love video games. I like making videos. So why not put the two together? Anyways, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Let's keep it civil as always. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to spread democracy.